at DSHA, and in my ethnicity and American literature course, one of the things that's different between that course, which is dual enrollment, and other courses that are not dual enrollment and not AP, is that the course covers more texts than you might see in another course like female identity in literature or topics in literature. Part of the reason is because typically in an elective junior or senior English course, you want to cover 4 major texts and assess on those. And in a collegiate course, you're going to usually cover 5 or maybe 5 or 6 shorter texts throughout the course of the semester. In my course, we cover 6 texts. One of them is a very short play that really is only about an hour's worth of reading total. And we watch a film together and analyze that film. And that's why we have 6 as opposed to 5. But I think that going into a dual credit course, students have to understand that there is going to be a heightened pace. The pace is going to be accelerated a little bit, and the expectation around assessment is going to be probably a little bit more demanding than it might be in a regular course that one would take that wouldn't be dual credit. For example, I know that in my non-dual credit junior, senior English courses, electives that I have taught, I'm not assigning papers that are longer than 4 pages. In this class, one of the requirements that the professor at Cardinal Stritch and I have worked out is that one of the papers is going to be between 5 and 7 pages. And that's an appropriate stretch for girls in this class. And it is a challenge for them to get to that point in their writing. Additionally, there's a midterm exam, there's a mandatory presentation of a certain length. So there's a lot of collaboration and collaboration between me and the professor at the university, or any of our teachers that are doing this, that are in these programs, and the university professors. And there is a bit of a higher expectation for assessment in addition to the pacing that the course presents. In speaking with one of my students from last semester, towards the end of the semester, she was saying that the course was really engaging, and we got into a lot of depth on a variety of issues that were relevant to our place and time right now, and we were able to do some really cool things in talking about the various works of literature that we studied. But she also remarked that there was a lot of reading, and she's now a second semester senior, and we were talking about this, and I told her, this is what it's like in college. There's a high demand placed on students for what you do outside of the classroom. In my syllabus, I know I publish how many hours I expect them to be working outside of class per week. And they need to be aware going into it that it's going to be a challenge in that way. One thing I do tell a lot of my sophomore students when they start asking about course selection, and I've had a lot of those questions in the last week and a half, is that you should pick a challenge that interests you. When you talk about dual credit and AP courses, dual credit courses are of a similar challenge to an AP course for most students. So if you're balancing a schedule, you don't want to take more than probably 3. 4 is a lot of AP or dual credit courses to be in at one time. And for a lot of students, 3 is kind of a lot or a maximum number. So you want to think about how much of a challenge you want to take on and is appropriate, and in what ways students want to challenge themselves. If you know your daughter is a science kid, maybe she should be looking at AP science classes or dual enrollment classes. Heather, I don't know if we have any science dual enrollment, do we? Okay, so let's say she's an English kid. We offer AP English in junior and senior year, and we offer 3 dual enrollment options. Maybe that's where she really wants to spend her energy. So I think there's just a process of sort of saying, what's the smart thing to do given that these courses are going to have that challenge. You don't want to be really overwhelmed in a course that's also not interesting to you or not your passion. But I think generally speaking, the students in these classes have a really good experience. It's been my experience as a teacher of a dual enrollment course that no matter, not every kid's going to get an A, but every kid's going to get something really, really, good night, buddy. One of my kids is saying good night to me. Sorry about that. Not everyone's going to get an A, but everyone walks out of there with a good experience of the class generally and a good experience of what a collegiate class feels like. And it's also this supportive environment where they're not on campus yet. They're taking that class with their teacher at DSHA. They can message me on Teams. We can have a call on Teams. We can have meetings in the same way that they would with any of their other teachers in this place that they've already come to know and with which they are already familiar. So there's a lot of support structure in place that I think helps the students manage these classes in an appropriate fashion.
Wonderful. So at this point, if anyone has any questions about logistics or any more dual credit questions or course specific questions, we are happy to take your questions. I don't have any questions in the chat yet, but so certainly anyone can unmute and ask. We're happy to help.
Heather, I think we've knocked it out of the park.
I think so.
That's
You
got to be.
You certainly have, but Heather, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
At what point, and I'm guessing this would be during college application time or perhaps sometime in their freshman year, but at what point do you submit your dual credit to the universities for credit?
That is a great question. So one step that high school students often, well, of course, they wouldn't have any experience with it, but when they register, when they apply to college and are accepted, one of the things they have to do is they have to reach out to the university and secure the transcript from that university because it is from the university. And we tell students that they should always request that unofficial transcript to have with them so that when they are registering for classes at the university, they have the unofficial transcript. When they're going through the application process, they would request official transcripts from the university after they've completed the course. And of course, like the official DSHA transcript is sent. And to make it official, it's from the institution to the institution. So from one university to the other university or the high school to the university. So there are, in the directions that we partner with the University of Minnesota, Cardinal Stritch University, and University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. And all of the directions for the students are very clear about kind of the how to and when to and all of that. So that's usually not a problem, but a great question.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for your help.
Yeah.
Hi there. I have one more question. I personally did this like many, many years ago, but I believe that in terms of the cost, it's economical.
It's hugely economical. It's almost like Cindy just teed this up for us to talk about the economic benefits. So in college, you pay per credit. And right now, our dual credit classes, Mr. Olinsky's dual credit class is $399 for 3 credits, which is a great deal. And normally, Andy, what did you say that your class, if a student went to the university and paid for it, it would be how much?
That is for the bargain basement price at Cardinal Stritch of just over $3,000.
Right. So $3,000 versus $399. That is one of the reasons too that it's really attractive for families is that towards that 120 credits of college credits that every student has to earn, these are the most economical college credits that a student could earn. Now, one caveat, the little asterisk, is AP and dual credit classes that not every university or program is going to accept that credit or the AP score. Universities can set their own policy. A couple of years ago, Notre Dame, which is, a Midwestern university, Notre Dame told everybody like, hey, college or hey, high school students, you go ahead and earn that 5 on the AP and get an A in your dual credit. That's great for you, but we won't accept either because we don't have to. So we won't. So there may be, depending on if it's a highly selective university, they may not accept any AP credits or any dual credit credits. So that really is something that as families, you want to research a little bit on the front end if you're trying to decide if it's sort of worth it to you or not. But I would say for that reason, that's another reason why AP and dual credit are weighted grades, because even if a student doesn't receive the benefit of the college credit or the AP credit, they do receive the benefit of the weighted grade. And the strength of application. AP and dual credit are viewed by universities as the most rigorous courses that a high school student could take. So the admissions officer at the university would note that. And I think there was a question. No, a class cannot be both dual credit and AP. I think maybe that's the question.
That question is posed again on the last. She rewrote the question, Heather.
Okay.
If you scroll down.
So right, it's either an AP designated class or a dual credit class, and that really is connected with the outside organization that we're partnering with, whether that's College Board or a university.
And if a student decides to take a dual credit class, like Dr. Mansfield said, there's no expectation on my end that student is taking the course with the university and paying. And the benefit again is, even if you don't care to pay for the credit or you don't want to go through the process of, taking that credit because it might not apply to where your daughter is going to go to school, you still get the benefit of being in the class, and nothing beyond that is changed from our end.
Mm-hmm. And what a college admissions officer would say is it's the strength of a student's schedule or the strength of her transcript. So seeing that AP or dual credit. There's a question about anatomy and physiology. It is no longer a dual credit class. We don't have faculty who are credentialed to be able to teach that at the university level. We did, but Mr. Fleshman retired. So we don't right now. So it's 7:53, which means we have a few minutes until the end of this session. And then you have the option to go to another session, or if you have your questions answered, that works too. I did want to mention for parents and any students who happen to be on this, that for sophomores, their course registration, they were the first ones to open when we came back from Christmas break, and their course registration closes this Friday. So that's why we had the assemblies last week, and we've been meeting with the sophomores especially, and they're kind of the special crew. So we're paying extra special attention to them. But just so that's on your radar screen, and parents, you will need to approve and kind of sign off on your daughter's course selection. So if at some point she asks you to come over to her computer and look at something, just know that you'll get a form through My DSHA that would ask for your approval of her course selection. And please, please feel free to reach out to me, any of our faculty, or the counselors with any additional questions. And thanks so much for coming. Have a great night.
Can I ask you something?
Yes, please do.
For the sophomores, you're saying oh, never mind. You're talking about okay, and I've got a daughter who's going to be a freshman, but their registration opens yesterday or today, I believe.
And it doesn't close for a while yet. Yep.
It says it closed on the 26th, and then on the 27th, they will have an orientation for course selection the following day after it closes.
That's for incoming freshmen.
Right, that's what I'm talking about.
Yep. Yep.
But they have to choose their courses before we have that meeting?
Yeah, incoming freshmen don't really have a ton of choices, and that meeting afterwards is really to answer any questions or make any adjustments if they're needed.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
You got it.